Hey guys, JAde here with another video, and in this video I want to talk about why it's so emotionally draining to be an artist. And I don't want to be like dramatic or anything like, oh, it's so emotionally draining, it's so difficult, but it is. Like, people that don't pursue a passion to such a degree don't understand what all goes into creating our art and the things that we need to sacrifice to be able to create freely. It's like a common trait for artists to be selfish and, to be thinking about themselves and really putting their craft before everybody else. And I feel like that's not really our fault, because if we don't, then it's like a part of us inside is dying. Like, if we don't pursue our craft, then we're not really gonna be the happiest that we are. And I'm not saying that like you're supposed to be motivated and inspired to create 24/7 and that you're not going to have times in your life when you're not creating, even years. Like, I took like a 3-year break from music, and I don't even like to say that I took a break, because I feel like it took a break from me. I didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to take a break from music, it'll be great. No, like, it just slowly started happening, and then before you knew it, I wasn't making any music, I wasn't playing any keyboard, I wasn't making any beats, and then before I knew it, 3 years had passed and music became something that I used to do. So don't think that artists are inspired all the time to create. I feel like it's a cycle. It's a creative cycle. Sometimes you're in it and you're feeling super motivated and super creative, and other times you just have other stuff going on in your life. Obviously, you can't dedicate as much time to music as you would like to if you have to work 40 hours a week and if you have to go to college and have a family and all these other things. But sometimes it's not even about making time. Other times it's more like physical and mental. Like, you just feel like you can't create, or you feel like the music that you made before was a lot better than the music that you're making now. And I feel like big artists do this too, and we do it to them. Like, we as consumers and as fans do this to an artist. For example, it's really often that you'll hear a fan say, oh, I really like his old stuff better. Let me use Eminem for an example. Like, I'm a huge Eminem fan, always have been since I was really young, actually, like 5th grade. And, obviously the stuff that he was singing back then was really raw, because it was some real raw stuff that he was going through. How is he going to sing about being broke and all this stuff when he's a millionaire now, Like, is he a millionaire? And I feel like we do that to ourselves too. We create our best and most raw material in those times that life is just kicking us in the butt. And then when things are better, we feel like we're not going through bad things, so we can't make good music. Does that make any sense? And I feel like sometimes it's easy to get caught chasing that lost version of yourself. And it's okay to move on. Like, it's okay to create different things. It's okay that you made that really great track a couple years ago and now you're on to better things. Don't look at your old musical creations and think that it's something that you have to top, because that mentality is what keeps you behind. And you're thinking, oh, I have to do this that I used to do when I created, and you're always chasing like that feeling that you had when you wrote that song, knowing that life is ever moving. Those things that you went through, you're not going to go through again, hopefully. And know that it's okay not to be super inspired all the time. Like, as an artist, you expect yourself to be super inspired all the time, and that's just not the reality of it. Like I said, I like to see it as cycles of creation. So even if you're taking a break from music and you're not making music as much as you used to or as much as you would like to, don't think that you're stuck there forever. The most important part about taking a break is that you get to reassess how important making music actually is to you. Like, you'll see that you feel like something's missing from your life when you're not making music. And it sucks, because sometimes when people take a break, they don't come back to it. Music becomes something that they used to do, or any art, drawing. Like, for example, I used to draw when I was younger a lot. I used to draw every single day. I used to like make my own comic books, and then I suddenly just stopped and started focusing on other things, and now it's something that I used to do, sadly. Luckily, like with me drawing my shirts, my album art, I get to relive that moment of drawing, and I'm slowly starting to get back into it. But for people that just give up and just stop, your life is going to be really sad. Like, there's always going to be something that you're going to be missing. And that's because you're an artist, and being an artist is emotionally draining. Like, it's not easy to be an artist. And sometimes it's hard for like family members or your spouse or your friends to understand why it is that you're spending so much time on a hobby, or why you can't go out with them, or why you spend so much time in the studio. But if they're not artists and they don't love a hobby the way that we love music, they're not going to understand. And that's okay. That's okay if they don't understand, because who really understands an artist? We don't even understand ourselves most of the time. That's how I feel, at least. The things that we do, the reasons that we create. For me, I guess the main reason that I create is just to express what I'm feeling. And yes, like many others, I do think that I did make a lot of good stuff back in the day, but I also feel like I'm making the best stuff that I can possibly make now. And I actually took that from a friend. Like, I was at a synth meet, and sometimes I used to get stuck like, oh, those beats I made before were like way better than what I'm making now. So I asked my friend, I'm like, hey, when do you think was the best time that you made your music? And he's like, right now. Like, right now I'm making the best music that I can make. And that's how you have to constantly look at it. Not that you have to top the last thing that you did, but that you always want to go in like a blank slate. You know, like, it is difficult to be an artist, but it's also a blessing. Like, we get to express our feelings in the most deepest way that somebody can, through art. And I think that's something magical, and it's something beautiful. And with technology right now, being able to share it with the world, like, that's amazing. I know I'm not like amazing, I know I'm not the best, but I feel like people can resonate with my melodies and with my music. And you know, I just want to thank you guys like so much, because I don't say it enough. Like, thank you so much for watching all the videos, thank you so much for listening to my music, for all the awesome feedback that you guys give me. Like, we feel like we need that acceptance sometimes as an artist, but even if there was nobody listening, like, even before Instagram and YouTube, even before all that stuff, like, just the joy of playing your instrument is enough for you. Like, creating a song and being happy with what you make, that's really all that should matter. It shouldn't matter like how many likes did you get, how many views did you get. And we get caught up in that sometimes because we feel like value from others means that it's good, you know. And obviously that's true to some extent. Like, you know what tastes good and you know what tastes bad. Music is the same way, but it can also be subjective in a way. But you know, we all know what like bad music sounds like. But don't feel like you need that praise from other people to be able to enjoy what you're doing. And if you're really like super passionate about your art, and you're not caring about what anybody says, you're enjoying that moment where you sit down and you create and you make your beats and you play your keyboard, and there's nobody else around to tell you if it sucks or if it doesn't, but you're enjoying it and you love it and you know it's good, even if nobody else can hear it, even if nobody ever hears it, you know that it's good because you're liking it and you made it. Lately, a lot of people have been asking me like, how long have I been producing? And I swear, like, up until like a few months ago, I wasn't even calling myself a producer. I still feel like I don't deserve that title yet. Up until very recently, I felt like I deserved that title. Like, I was always just a jammer, or you know, like, it was just a hobby. I just play keyboard and make beats. It's not something like, I don't get my beats mastered. I don't really know how to mix, but you learn all these things along the way. So just because you don't know how to master and you don't know how to mix now doesn't mean that you can't learn it later on, that you can't teach it to yourself as you're going, as you're learning, as you're picking up things and, you know, watching YouTube videos, tutorials, all these things that are helping you grow as a musician. And I actually took this advice from a video that Sarah Tuil made a really long time ago. She said, own what you're doing. Like, if you're taking pictures, if you feel like you're being a photographer, you know, call yourself a photographer. If you're over here making beats and producing, you know, you're a producer. And I never did that. Like, I was always just like a musician that made beats. And every day that passes, I feel more like a producer, and like, not like a professional producer, just a bedroom producer, but it just feels good to like be able to give that title to myself, because I can make a beat, I can make it sound good. At the end of the day, if it sounds good through the speakers, if it sounds good in your car, then you're all right. So don't be afraid to like label yourself a producer, but also don't make the mistake of labeling yourself a producer too early, because then you're like cutting yourself from all the things that you could potentially learn as an artist. And to be honest, I consider myself a baby producer because there's so much that I still have to learn. And that's kind of how you have to look at learning in general. Like, you always want to be the person that knows least in the room. I forget where I read that. You want to be able to take as much knowledge with you from what you're learning than anybody else can in that room. Does that make any sense? Like, if that person already thinks that they already know everything, then they don't have anything else to learn. But if you're always learning and you're always eager to learn more techniques, to learn more theory, everything, you know, like, that can only help you go up and be a better musician. Another reason that I feel like a lot of people quit music making is because of responsibility. And I feel like that might have had to do with why I quit music for a while too, because I was a full-time college student. You know, I was working like 3 jobs. I just had a lot of stuff going on. And sometimes we feel if we can't do this for a living, like if we've completely given up on the goal of doing this for a living and we're gonna go do something else, something that's gonna pay the bills, because realistically, that's what we all need. We gotta pay rent. I feel like a lot of people say, if I can't do this for a living, I'm not gonna do it at all. And that's sad because like music is enjoyable. You weren't doing it for a living before, you know, like when you were younger, you weren't making any money off it. So what changed? Why do you feel like now if you don't do it for a living, then you don't want to do it at all? And sometimes I struggle with that. I'm not going to say that I don't. I went to college, took me like 8 years to get my bachelor's degree just because like I was on and off, taking 2 classes here, 1 class there. Regardless, I got my bachelor's degree. Now I'm supposed to be looking for a job in this field, you know, in my field that I like to keep to myself. Like I like to keep my personal life to myself. But there's always a part of me, it's like that I wish, what if I could pursue this dream? And obviously not like a dream like being a super famous singer and all these other crazy dreams that other people might have, but just being able to pay my rent off of music. And you know, that might be possible with YouTube if I had like 1 million subscribers, but am I ever gonna get there? Like, am I ever gonna be able to sustain myself off of YouTube? And the amount of time that I put into these videos and making all this content, like, it just doesn't pay off. Like, I make like $100 off YouTube. If you know, if some people think that you're like balling because you make YouTube videos because you got like 25,000 subscribers, this girl must be balling. No, like I'm just a regular person. I still gotta work. I still have other plans. But there is a part of me that's like, what if I were to go all in on this? I don't know. I still gotta pay my rent, so I can't like I can't dedicate myself the way that I want to. And I feel like that's where we become sad, where we know that we want to create, we know that we want to give it our all, but life circumstances just don't allow us to. And in a situation like that, I mean, I'm going through it. I don't know what to say about a situation like that. Ask me next year how I feel. I'm about to start a job, hopefully. I know that's going to take a lot of time from like me making these videos and making this content, but it will also give me a break because I've been going really hard since I graduated probably like 6 months ago, just waking up and making music. And it's been a lot of fun, but it's also been a lot of work. And it's kind of taken the fun out of it. Like, music is supposed to be a hobby, and when you're trying to do it for a living, you know, it becomes a job. And yeah, it was great to go to Germany. It was great to do all these amazing things. But at the end of the day, this stuff isn't paying my bills. So like, I need a realistic career. And it works for some people. Like, you know, some people might get that viral video and it goes great for them. And, you know, they're paying their rent with YouTube at least. Like, that's all I need. I just need to pay my rent. I don't got to be a millionaire. And good for them. Like, good for them. You know, they put in the time, they put in the hours. And I know this has actually grown a lot, this channel, for me just doing it for 3 years. But I've made almost 300 videos. Like, do you know how long it takes to edit all these videos? Just this video alone, you saw how many times I have to cut me probably saying a word wrong or something stupid. I don't know. So your hobby becomes a job and then it's not fun anymore. But it's still something that you would love to do much more than any other job in the world. Like, if anybody asked me, I would much rather make music and make videos than do something else, just because I'm an artist and that's just the way I feel. But who knows, maybe I won't get this job and then I can dedicate all of my time to making YouTube videos because I have nothing else going on. I'm just kidding, I really need this job. But in the meantime, music will remain a hobby for me, as it is for most people watching my channel. I wonder how many young people there are here, like under their 20s. I'm 27, by the way. Almost 30, ouch. But yeah, I hope this video resonated with at least one of you. I hope that you continue to make music. I hope if you're taking a break right now to just take a step back and, you know, analyze it as what it is. Don't think that you don't make music anymore. It's just a break. It's okay not to be creating all the time. We're not machines, or are we? And just take it one day at a time. Pick up your instrument. If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you have too much gear, pick up one instrument at a time. See what it is that you really need and just do it one day at a time. Catch you in the next one.